Beep, 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 beep. Hello, peapods. How are we doing? After the tremendous news about Kemi, I've been a busy bunny. Things to do, people to see. Right, okay. There's been another kerfuffle. Another kerfuffle, rightly so. Who in their right mind would think, oh, do the thing? It's one of those days. Just come a warrior teacher. Come join. Join the warrior teacher program. Right, so let's go. Right, okay. Who in their right mind, who understands anything about sexuality, particularly from, the modern perspective, understanding that sexuality is innate. It isn't all who you are. For example, it's not everything. Not everything about me is driven by my penchant for the male form. Nothing. See? No, so it's just part of who I am, right? So see, being gay is just part of who you are, and you sort of wibble on with life and get on with it. And occasionally you meet people you like. You meet less as you get older, and they will like you if you're lucky, right? Okay. What I find it to mean is that you fall in love with people that you can never have. That's what I find it to be. That's worth trying to get your head around, but it's a bit tough, really. See, so being gay isn't everything you are. It's just you, right? Okay. Gay culture, part of what you are. Understanding gay culture, the history of it, the marvelous nature of gay culture throughout history in Britain is so worth exploring. The likes of Quentin Crisp and Leo Abs and the Campaign for Homosexual Equality and Esme Langley and all the early pioneers of the British movement that led to the freedom that we currently enjoy. And it's extraordinary to imagine that Stonewall and Simon Fanshawe and the crew were such a huge part of that. When you look at Stonewall now and can't believe that they even were, I think there's Stonewall 2 in it. It's not Stonewall really. Simon and the crew were still the stars of that particular fight in the 80s, which, bear in mind, it started long before then in the 50s. But, so understanding about gay culture and being part of the gay world, if you want to call it that, you're not subsumed by it, That's what tends to happen, unless you've just come out, in which case you tend to be a bit flagrant and flowery. That's what I was like. Oh, hello. Oh, it was all a bit camp, right? So that kind of history about the gay movement is very personal. I've studied gay history and still do, and I'm fascinated by it and by the people that fought. And we could do with having a resurgence of understanding of the UK situation in regards to gay history, because we're being told lies about Martha P. Johnson. It was Moulcom. Martha was a man. And, who threw the first brick at Stone. It's got nothing to do with us. It's the UK. You need to go further back than that, dear. You need to look at all sorts of things, but further back than that. So it's somewhat irksome to imagine that a bunch of ninnies whose sole reason for existence is to ensure that they can convert gay and lesbian youth into trans or non-binary people who worship at the altar of gender identity ideology would be the ones that the NHS would choose to train them about gay people and lesbians. There's a wonderful article from years ago where they were talking about lesbians and owning dogs and the spicy whiffs of the tea rooms. It was so surreal. Absolutely surreal. I've got it somewhere. I'll see if I can put up my Substack. And so it's quite surprising to discover that one particular trust called South London and Maudsley NHS Trust, South London and Maudsley NHS Trust, are actively using Mermaids as their company for their training. Not just for the TQ. Mermaids can do that because the Q, you've got to be completely obsessed with yourself to be a Q, haven't you? So blue-haired, straight, doesn't understand reality. Years ago would have been sat in the corner dribbling. Just give him a biscuit every now and again, he'll be fine. Now they're sort of like we are, and they're off, right? No, so they have, right? So some wag found out about this and stuck it on the old Twitteroids, and I got wind of it, and I've been having a look at it and seeing what was going on. So then the Telegraph reports on it that they revealed that it was running training sessions for staff. How can they run training sessions for staff when they don't believe that sexuality exists? So London and Maudsley have got a bit of explaining to do. And this is what apparently has happened in the interim period. So London and Maudsley were attacked viciously. I say attacked viciously, they weren't. They were prompted gently by the likes of me and other folks, including the GCs, the old feminists, and all of us that are very concerned about this, in what I can only describe as a torrent. A torrent of, excuse me, what are you doing? This may be the politest revolution in history. Can you imagine it? The symbols of this revolution is Tunnocks tea cakes. That's a marshmallow thing covered in chocolate. It says it all. That and scarves. I love these women. Right, okay. So, the trouble starts, right? First off, the question has to be asked, what the hell are the NHS doing, working with a charity that is under investigation? There's a wonderful red sign on their charity page. That they're under investigation. I mean, I'm not like, here, have you put that in the wrong box? No, this is serious stuff, right? That also, we have the cash report that tells us that they're homophobic, that homophobia is a massive problem with this, and yet the NHS Trust is still using them. It's beyond me, right? It's beyond, what were they thinking? They weren't. They weren't, were they? Now, I know that they weren't, and there's a reason that I know that they weren't, because there's a guy called David Bradley, who is the CEO, Chief Executive Officer of the NHS Trust in London and Maudsley, right? Okay. I like him, right? And the reason I like him was because he did not ignore what was happening in the marketplace of ideas on the Twittoids, right? In fact, he responded. Thank you, David Bradley. I wish there was more in your position, in positions like yours, who would do the same as you. And it was a response that was so good. And it's this response that's going to send the nutters into orbit. Right? It's delicious. So, everybody was saying, what's going on? You're the CEO. What the hell are you doing out playing with these people? Look at this, Charity Commission. They're known for their homophobia and all the stuff that comes with it. They're anti-women. And instead of going, oh my God, this is a sticky swamp I don't want to walk into, David walked into it. We like David, right? Okay. And he wrote on Twitter, when it was said that this is what Mermaids were about and that they were under investigation, all he said was, that's a fair point. 4 glorious words, that's a fair point. Followed by, we'll review current arrangements next week. That's extraordinary, right? That's extraordinary. So I'm pleased that Mr. Bradley has said he's going to do that, and I think it should please you too, because that's somebody taking notice. That's somebody taking notice. I mean, we've got to remember that, Mermaids is currently under statutory inquiry by the Charity Commission. No public body should be giving them any money. None. Not a penny. And even when they're not under investigation, they shouldn't be doing it, right? So the Trust had previously said, before David came in and said, hang on a minute, this is a good point, we're going to look at it. Thanks, David, again. Right, before he did that, the Trust issued a statement saying they're not training us about trans, they're doing something else to do with gay people. And I'm like, whoa, horsey, okay? So first off, the Trust said it's okay, they're not training us about the thing that they actually exist for. Mermaids has got nothing to do with sexuality. Why are they using them? Right, so David's going to look at it. And hopefully what will happen is they'll get rid of them. Because that's what we do with it, is sideline them. Just get them out of the bloody way. I wrote to David and said, if you'd like a conversation, please give me a nod. And if David should watch this, of course he's not going to. You want to have a conversation, give me a shout. You know what I mean? I can introduce you to a dozen women who will put you straight on the rest of this. Talk to me about the faggy bit, oh, hello. Talk to me about the old gay bit, right? Well, Dennis, there's loads of us you could talk to, okay? And then when we've done that, what we'll do is we'll introduce you to the women, so that you can talk to the women about exactly what this movement is doing to the NHS. You're a man with power. You've stood up, David, and I'm glad of that, and I hope that other people are too, right? But let us not be remiss in thinking you can just say, hello, I'll have a look, and then think for 1 second that's going to be all it takes. It won't. David, you're in it now. Come on, man, we need you. Get off the bench. Get off the bench. So I think that's fantastic. We've still got the problem that they're messing about with Stonewall, the Stonewall Equality Index and all the rubbish that comes with that. So that's all going to still need looking at, because there's still 175 public organisations that are paying it. And that's £700,000 a year. That we got to defund that. That's the Scottish Government, the Nuclear Decommissioning Authority, Leicester County Council, They also spend £110,000 of taxpayers' money for other programmes. They got a £4,000 grant, Stonewall, from public bodies, 170,000 from the Welsh government, 100,000 from the Scottish government. It's, we've got to stop paying pressure groups to pressurise the public sector. Just no, you go away. So we'll get the funds gone. Just withdraw their funds and let them quietly disappear. Like that other one. What was it? Kids Company with Batman Wobble Jelly. What was her name? I can't remember. Come in the Batman Gelady. Turns out that was all a nonsense as well. You've got to watch these charities of mine, see? Anyway, that's it. Okay, so I think well done, David, and let's keep going, folks. Look what we can achieve. Look what we can achieve. Fantastic. Thanks to everybody who responded to Mortley. And have a great day. I'm off. More things to do. Warrior teachers to deal with. I'll see you later.